What's up, everybody? Welcome to a Saturday edition of The Squeeze. I am Tyler Conium. Might hear a little bit of nasally in my voice because when you have a 1.5-year-old, you're basically just sick all the time. So I'm sick basically all the time. So that's what that is. I apologize for that. And then also thought about changing up the format of these videos a little bit. I did sort of like just like a YouTube short thing, and I put out there like, do you just want to see quick breakdowns, do you want breakdowns at all? Do you just want picks? The feedback was sort of like people like shorter videos, which I get, but I just feel like I like this format a little bit better. I think it lends itself a little bit better to what I like to do, so I will try to keep things a little bit shorter. I tend to ramble maybe on the breakdowns a little bit, but that's the plan for that. We're in the Orange Day for Truth and Reconciliation Day up here in Canada. For the Indigenous and Every Child Matters. So hopefully you're supporting that. Okay, so this week we made some bets on Monday. Last week was 11.5 units. That was an unbelievable run. We're up 66 units on the year. Always free, by the way. So if you want to drop subscribe or let somebody know, that would be great. Just 2 games today. Look, everywhere else you're going to get content is going to have college football and probably NFL. And there's also Major League Baseball, but it's the weird time of year where there's like 2 or 3 games less for a lot of these teams. Teams are either in or they're out. Players are playing or they're not. I don't want to touch it. I'm not going to put money on whether or not a pitcher. Last night for Tampa against Toronto, their starter went 1 inning. Like, it's just not something I want to touch. So we're going to go to the CFL. Just have 2 bets. We're going to start with the Montreal Alouettes, who are on the road against the Ottawa Redblacks. And I am taking the Montreal Alouettes in this game. Why is it this opening? Montreal Alouettes are coming into this game 7-7. They're 500. They're just coming off a 28-11 loss to Calgary. They had a brutal 4-game run against the Lions and the Bombers and the Argos. And then they finally got to play someone like Calgary. And they lost. And that's kind of how that goes. They've had it tough, but the Montreal Alouettes are a team that they're not quite in the top 3, but they're also not in one of the bottom 4 teams either, which is what I like here. The last 3 times these teams have met, it's all been wins by Montreal. 2 this season, they've beat them 25-24, and then they beat them 19-12. One was in Montreal, the one in Ottawa was 25-24. I think the same thing's going to happen here. Look, the Ottawa Redblacks, they're 4-10, they're done, they're not very good. I just don't trust them. They're winless against the Eastern Division so far this season. Yeah, they're going to host the Alouettes today and try to rectify that, but the Owls are in a playoff hunt. They need this win. I'm going to take the Montreal Alouettes. That's -1.5 for -110 at BetMGM. The other game is the Hamilton TigerCats. As you can tell, these games are very close. You can take money lines, but you're getting into like -120, -130, which I don't like, and the spread's -1.5. Hamilton here is -1. So if you get a push, cool. Otherwise, you're getting -110 versus -125. The Hamilton TigerCats are at home to the Calgary Stampeders. Stamps are the worst team in the CFL, especially in terms of the power rankings, right? So, like I said, Montreal was coming off a 28-11 win against Calgary after that 4 brutal stretch against BC, Toronto, and Winnipeg. They beat the Calgary Stampeders. So Stampeders are coming off a loss there. They just have 4 wins. They're going to finish under 500 for the first time in 16 years. Okay, and then you've got the Hamilton TigerCats. They're 6-8. They're coming off a 15-point loss to Toronto. Argos have beat the Hamilton TigerCats 4 times this season. But the Hamilton TigerCats just aren't quite as bad as Ottawa. They aren't quite as bad as Edmonton. They're not quite as bad as Saskatchewan or Calgary. And they're at home here, which I still think does mean something. The last matchup they had actually dates back to last October. They haven't played this season. But when they played last year, it was a Hamilton win 35-32. So a nice high-scoring game. Hamilton is 7-3 in the last 10 matchups against these 2 teams. And Hamilton's actually won 2 of their last 3. They beat Ottawa 27-24. They beat Winnipeg 29-23. And then they had their loss to Toronto. Whereas you've got the Stampeders, they've lost 5 of their last 6 football games. Blown out against BC. Beaten by Winnipeg. Beaten by Toronto, beat Edmonton, but then immediately went back into Edmonton and lost there. They've been really bad on the road. They've lost 5 straight road games, so give me the Hamilton TigerCats here, -1 for -110 at Bet365. That's all I have for you today on this card. You can get your college football somewhere else. You can get your NFL stuff somewhere else. Give me the Montreal Alouettes -1.5 for -110 at BetMGM. Give me the Hamilton TigerCats -1 for -110 at Bet365. As always, drop a comment if you're fading or following. You can follow me across all my social channels linked in the description. TikTok and Instagram for just the picks portions, and your audio is on Apple and on Spotify. Have a great Saturday, and let's talk sports.